Stocks I'm buying December 2018 edition. Welcome in, guys, to my favorite series I do each and every month on this channel, where I discuss 3 stocks I'm going to be buying in the upcoming month. The upcoming month this month is December 2018. Now, if you're new here, I'm a long-term investor, so I'm generally buying these stocks to plan on holding them for at least 3 to 5 years, if not more time than that. And I'm generally looking for stocks that I think can potentially double over the next, let's say, 5 years or so, all right? So I'm not just trying to trade these stocks for like, oh, let me try to make a couple pennies here and sell off and do things like that. I'm generally buying these companies for long term. Now, this is one of the most exciting 3 stocks I've maybe ever done in the history of the channel, because we're going to do a little different process today. The way we're going to view these 3 companies I'm going to share, by the way, one of them at the end is a monster company that so many of you guys have been wanting me to talk about. But the way I want to view these companies today is through how Warren Buffett actually values companies. So whenever Warren Buffett goes to look at a company, he says, what am I getting as a whole based upon the market cap? So let's say a company is $10 billion. He says, okay, this company costs $10 billion if I was buying the whole thing. What am I getting for that company? What type of management team? What type of business model am I getting? What type of profits am I getting? What type of profits does this company throw off pretty consistently? So that's the way we're going to look at it. We're going to look at market cap and then what do we get for that, guys? So I hope you enjoy this as always. Hit a thumbs up if you do. I hope you guys enjoy this series as much as me, and let's get into this. First stock up here is Toll Brothers, ticker symbol TOL. Toll Brothers. So I love Toll Brothers. I love Toll Brothers. I bought many shares in the past, and I plan to continue to do so in December 2018. So Toll Brothers, this is a company that right now trades around at a $4.5 billion market cap. So the question is, for $4.5 billion, what do you get? You get the premier luxury home builder in the entire United States of America, all right? They compete almost solely in this space. There's really no nationwide luxury builder out there. Toll Brothers builds these amazing homes. I'm sure I'm showing you some screenshots right now of some of the properties they have. Amazing properties. They don't just do luxury homes, but they also do projects like high rises. They also are big in retirement communities. As far as making retirement communities, we know the baby boomers are retiring like crazy over the next 10 to 15 years, right? Many of them want to move to retirement communities. They're big into that, right? And they do make some cheaper homes that maybe are priced around $500,000 to $600,000, but that's not a big part of their business. The main part of their business is selling homes that are $800,000 plus, all right? What else am I getting for a company that is a $4.5 billion company, right? I'm getting a company that produces EBITDA anywhere between $600 million plus to $1 billion plus in EBITDA per year when we're in a good or decent economy, all right? So that's a very impressive business for $4.5 billion, right? We're getting a company that has an adjusted gross margin very consistently around the low to mid 20s. I'm getting a company that is diversified across the United States. They're in all the major markets you want to be in that are growing very fast, right? Phoenix, you can think about the Texas regions, Dallas, Austin, Houston, major growth engines there. Charlotte, Raleigh, North Carolina, some of the fastest growth. They're also out here in Vegas, right? And then they're also in the markets where you can just make a ton of money on real estate in general because the prices are so high, like New York City and out in California. So even as New York City has slowed as far as pricing goes, especially on the high end, in California as well, there's still so much money to be made as a builder in those markets, even with the price declines we've seen out there, all right? I'm getting a company that almost fights no one in this space, okay? The only people that are really challenging them are private builders that are very, very small in scale. Everybody else is fighting over the crumbs while Toll Brothers is like, we're going up to the high end of the market. That's where we're going to do our business at, right? KB, Pulte Homes, Lennar, all these type of companies, right? Beazer Homes, they all are the crumb fighters, I call them, right? They're in that middle class range. They're fighting for the people that are, you know, making $40,000 to, let's say, $60,000 a year, and that's kind of their business. Whereas Toll Brothers is like, we're going to go after the high end of the market. We're going after the people that are making at least 6 figures a year or have net worths of $1 million plus. Those are the type of people Toll Brothers are going after. So they really don't have a lot of competition really directly. The way I kind of think about their business is remember when I used to own Wynn Resorts, right? Back in the day? Wynn Resorts, one of the things I loved about Wynn Resorts is they are the high-end player in gambling, right? And if they're attracting VIPs to come to their resorts, everybody else, the MGMs, the Caesars, and everybody else, they fight over, you know, the middle-class consumers or, you know, some of the poor consumers that want to take vacations connections to either Macau or Vegas or whatever, where Wynn's really on the high end and they're attracting VIPs. That's the type of segment I want to play in, the highest end, all right? As we spoke about before, they're also big into retirement communities now, or what we call age-qualified communities. That now represents almost 20% of their business. So it's not like they're just selling single-family, more luxury type homes, right? They're also huge into age-restricted communities. City living has become a much bigger portion of their business, and also condominiums has become a much bigger part of their business, all right? Now, 24%, almost a fourth of Toll Brothers buyers buy the homes on cash, okay? Completely cash. They don't even take out a loan. That's the type of buyers who are buying a Toll Brothers home. The average one that does that actually, gets a loan and whatnot has a FICO score of 758. So you're really dealing with the highest of the highest end customers, right? Fourth of them are just buying cash because they just have that type of money. It's like, oh, $1 million house, $2 million house, I'll buy that cash, okay? That's the type of consumers you're dealing with Toll Brothers. I like those type of consumers, all right? Now, a lot of people say, oh, aren't we building a lot of homes? Well, really on a factual basis, when you look at the numbers, the average annual production in the United States of America for homes is close to 1.6 million historically from 1970 to 2007. Over the past decade or so, we're falling much, much under that, right? Around a little less than 900,000. So if you're thinking, oh, we must be massively overbuilt or something like that, just because maybe there's communities being built in your city or whatever, when I look at the numbers, I say on historical standards, we're massively, massively under that. So I love Toll Brothers for $4.5 billion, a company that throws off EBITDA of 600 million to $1 billion plus in good times, right? And a company that has a great management team, so well run, great brand name. For $4.5 billion, I think it's worth it, all right? Stock number 2 up here is Skyworks Solutions, all right? Skyworks Solutions is a big semiconductor company, and Skyworks Solutions, I'm paying about $12.5 billion market cap for this company, all right? This is a company that has connections with everybody. Almost everybody is at least a small customer of theirs, if not a big customer, right? Everybody's from the Honeywells to Samsung, Amazon. We talk about Microsoft, Apple. They don't show Apple there, but Apple represents around 40% of their business. Google. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. They're probably a customer of Skyworks Solutions. If you're watching this on a phone right now, I don't care if you're watching this on a Samsung phone or an Apple phone or what you're watching this on, there's a good chance there are Skyworks chips literally in that device you're watching this video on right now, all right? Now, one of my big bullish theses for Skyworks is I believe this company is going to be very big in 5G based upon everything I've looked into with this company and based upon what management has said about their chances to really succeed in 5G. If we look here, there's a big difference in a 4G phone versus a 5G phone in the amount of content a company like Skyworks can have. We're talking about possibly $7 more of content per phone out there. But it's not just that, it's all the other devices that 5G is going to explode into over time, right? 5G, we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about autonomous vehicles, IoT, we're talking about virtual reality, augmented reality, all this type of stuff is going to be 5G, right? And Skyworks has a great opportunity to be one of the biggest players, if not the biggest player in 5G. So when I look at 5G and I really think that will start exploding around 2020, I think 2019 will be the year, you kind of get a little 5G out there and maybe, the hype starts to build, but I think 2020 will really be the year that 5G starts to become more mainstream, right? When I look at Skyworks, I'm like, this is a company that's so well positioned to succeed in this, okay? If we look at the financial performance, you're going to see this company has had revenues go up quite dramatically over the years, earnings per share go up quite dramatically over the year. You'll see some years they kind of level off, right? If you look at revenue, fiscal 2015 to 2016, it was around break even. It wasn't much growth, right? This year will probably be break even with this past year as far as EPS and as far as revenue goes. There probably won't be much growth, but then all of a sudden they have their next growth vector that comes, right? So a company that has gross margins of 53%, operating margins of 40%, they target returns of 60% to 75% of free cash flow to shareholders in the form of dividends or buybacks. I'm getting a company that has well over $1 billion in cash and marketable securities. I'm getting a company that has no debt right now. And I look at Skyworks Solutions and I'm like, the type of profits this company produces, the opportunity it has in front of itself, the balance sheet, having $1 billion plus in just sitting around in cash and in investments and no debt on this balance sheet, the management team, how well they've done over the past decade, right? When I look at all this for $12.5 billion, it's worth a buy, all right? Let's get into stock number 3. So many of you guys have wanted me to talk about this one, Facebook. So Facebook, I've been adding aggressively over the past few months and plan to continue to do so throughout December of 2018. Now with Facebook, this is a massive company, right? If I'm buying this entire company, it cost me $378 billion. $378 billion. Holy smokes, that's a steep price to pay. So I better be getting a lot for $378 billion, right? Oh yeah, I get a little bit. Let's put it this way, guys. Facebook, we're talking about that Facebook platform itself, right? We're talking about 1 billion plus daily active users on Facebook alone. Instagram, 1 billion plus daily active users on Instagram alone. They have 2 of the most popular messaging services in all of the world, WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. Each of those has over 1 billion users. If we look at it just from a user case, this is arguably the most powerful company, not only in the world currently, but arguably the most powerful company we've ever seen on the face of the earth, okay? I don't know of any other company that has this many users that are using some of their apps, if not all of their apps, in a given day, right? Like almost every single day, we're talking about 1 billion plus people on each of these platforms, some of them using multiple of these. It's amazing, okay? Amazing. What else do I get for $378 billion? I get Mr. Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg. Now, they've come under fire right now. They're in the big what I call the eye of the hurricane right now. It's just bad news, and everybody's ganging up on them and how they didn't have enough oversight on this and whatnot. And just to be fair with these guys, right, we've never had a company on this scale, and the type of stuff they're dealing with is quite dramatic, right? When I look at Zuckerberg, I look at a guy that built arguably the most powerful company in the world from his dorm room. I'm like, this guy is probably this type of CEO I want to have ownership in, right? Sheryl Sandberg is an amazing business builder as far as, boosting up the profits and revenue, and has a really keen eye for business understanding. So although a lot of people are ganging up on them right now, and by the way, a lot of mainstream media wants to gang up on Facebook, because who's taking mainstream media's advertising budgets? Facebook is. Facebook's taking mainstream media's advertising budgets, so it makes sense to them for them to attack Facebook as much as possible right now. But I'll live with the results there. I love Zuckerberg. I love Sheryl Sandberg as far as a business visionaries there. They've done an amazing job building the company over the time, and it's a very hard thing to do when you're talking about the type of power this company has, right? Revenues have almost 2x'd over the past 2 years, right? We go back to Q3 2016, they were doing about $7 billion in revenue. Now this latest quarter doing nearly $14 billion, so nearly a 2x in revenue in a matter of 2 years, right? Average revenue per user has gone up dramatically. Look at the worldwide numbers, US and Canada, Europe, Asia Pacific, rest of the world. Doesn't matter what market you're looking at, the average revenue per user has gone up quite dramatically, right? Net income. Over the past 4 quarters, this company has $20 billion in net income in the last 4 quarters alone. And keep in mind, management's attention hasn't even been that much on net income, to be honest. Management attention has been on all the dramatic, things that have gone on in the Cambridge Analytica and the media attacks and this and that. It's been on a lot of different things that haven't been really business related and money making and profit related. So that's a big bullish sign for me. When I look at this company, I say this company made a ridiculous amount of money on that bottom line, and their management's focus probably wasn't even mostly on this. Their focus was on security and dealing with the government and everybody prying in and whatnot, okay? Capital investments has increased dramatically. Look at this, just year over year, almost a 2x in capital investments. They're spending a lot of money right now. I agree with the money being spent, okay? Facebook is in a position where the world is literally theirs, as long as they don't get regulated down too much and as long as they don't screw it all up for themselves because they had too many lapses in oversight or whatnot, right? The world is theirs. The advertising money is just going to flood in over the next half decade to decade, as long as they can keep their brands in a strong enough position where it doesn't turn off users and where it doesn't turn off governments and they don't get over-regulated or something like that. As long as Facebook can do that, the world is theirs. So all this spending on all these more employees, on capital investments and whatnot, I'm okay with all that money being spent right now, because as a long-term shareholder buying into this company, and probably will continue to buy throughout 2019, like, I just want these brands saved long term, okay? If we look at the balance sheet, over $40 billion just sitting around in cash and marketable securities and no debt at all on that balance sheet. So I say for a company that has net income of nearly $20 billion in the last 4 quarters, wasn't paying much attention to it, has over $40 billion on that balance sheet alone just sitting around in cash, has all these investments going for the company, and the advertising world is coming to them for $378 billion. That's a pretty good deal in my opinion, guys. So those are 3 stocks I'm planning on buying in December 2018. Let me know what you guys think about these stocks. I would love to hear from you in that comment section. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.